back to Beauty Bee. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about travel makeup. In particular, I'm going to be showing you the makeup I usually take when I travel and explaining my thought process behind what I choose, because I overthink everything. So of course I'm going to overthink my travel makeup. And I have used what is in this bag to do the makeup look that I'm currently wearing. There will be a probably pretty sped up semi-tutorial towards the end of the video. First, let's talk about the brushes that I use. I take 3 brushes with me pretty consistently when I travel. This bag also is often my gym bag, for when gyms are open, because I decided to do a travel tutorial during COVID. Why? Okay, so I usually take 1 face brush. The only face brush I pack is this little angled blush brush from e.l.f. Did I say that right? Blush brush. We'll see. I like this a lot because of course it's good for blush. I mean, I would hope it is. But also it's pretty easy for just turning on its side and you can get a pretty targeted highlighter application as well. If you were also a bronzer person, I think this would be okay. I am not into bronzer at all, so that's just not a step I worry about on vacation. But I think this is big enough that you could do some damage with bronzer. And then I take 2 eye brushes. I actually don't think I use this one in the tutorial that I'm showing you today, just because I didn't like the least. But this is a duo from EcoTools. It's like a $4 duo, and I think it's a great little purchase. You've got a shader brush and a liner on one of the brushes. On the other brush you have a smudger. It's probably worthwhile at this point to just show you them in comparison. So you can see that this one's much shorter and just a little bit more targeted. And you have a fluffy crease brush. And these are great quality. I think I've had these for a year and a half, maybe approaching 2 years at this point. I've washed them not as much as I should have, but a lot, and they're in great shape. So let's talk about just the other basics that I always take with me. I like brow pencils just in general, but I especially like them for traveling. This one is the e.l.f. one. I like this both because it happens to be a really good shade match for me, but also it has the spooply on the other side, so that's one less thing that I would need to pack. Also, and this is going to be a recurring theme in this video, I like to travel with things that are cheap. If my luggage gets lost or I misplace my makeup bag, that's already gonna suck. I don't need for it to have like $250 worth of makeup in it. That would make a very sad day. $2 though. That sounds good to me. Mascara. I just pack my usual mascara. I don't think there's too much of a size difference between, full size, not stupidly bulky mascaras and minis. They usually just tend to be a little bit shorter. So I don't concern myself with getting a mini. I just pack my usual mascara. And primer. I need eyeshadow primer. My eyelids don't feel oily during the day, but I am convinced that they just eat eyeshadow, and this stops them from doing that. And again, it's cheap. I think this is usually between $4.50 and $6 depending on the retailer. Did I actually tell you what this is? This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus eyeshadow primer. Let's talk about lip stuff, and then we'll move on to the real star of the video, which is the next thing. I bring chapstick. There's two reasons behind this. One, I like wearing chapstick at night. Keeps my lips in decent shape. But also I like being able to create a sheer, glossier version of any lipstick that I bring with me. This is a lipstick that I would bring. It's what I'm wearing right now. This is Revlon Blushing Mauve, one of their super lustrous lipsticks. There's two reasons I would bring this along. One, because it's almost done, and I find vacations are just a great time to bring something little, some little nubbin of lipstick that you can use and then throw away. I mean, I would get probably, I would guess 3 or 4 days worth out of this if I didn't reapply. Maybe more like 2 or 3 if I did. I also like to pack a color that will go with anything. For me, this is an easy everyday color. I'm sure that differs a little bit person to person. I also appreciate a lipstick that I can dot on my cheeks and use as blush. I've done that many times with this in the past, and I find that it both works well throughout the day and it is a really easy one to blend out with my fingers. There's some worry with some lipsticks that you'll end up with spots where you dotted, and this does not give me that problem at all. Okay, now for the star of the show, which is this little palette. Now there was way too much thought that goes into this particular palette, which is the Silent Treatment from Wet n Wild. I like to choose palettes that are small, cheap, and multitaskers for me when I travel, because I really do tend to travel pretty light. It is rare that I pack a checked bag if I'm flying. I almost always just use my carry-on and my backpack. So I like this one because it is neutral enough for me that I can wear it every day. Right now I am wearing gray eyeshadow with this transition shade in my crease and transition area. This is a look that I personally could wear every day. I know that for some people this would probably be a little too cool, but I'm pretty cool toned, so it works well for me. I also like this because I have my highlighter right here. Make sure I'm not swatching on top of anything else. I don't know how well you can see that because it is pretty close to the skin tone on my hand, but yeah, I don't think you can see that. It gives a very pretty glow, and I can use this mauve shade as a really easy blush. And again, we want to, oh, I still had a little bit of gray on that finger. Let's try that again. That's a pretty easy blush shade for me. And it's actually what I'm wearing now, so you can see how it looks sheared out. I think that this particular one is a great option because it also has that black. So you have a liner, you can do a completely black smoky look if that is something that you like to wear out at night. I feel that this particular little quad can go very business appropriate and very party appropriate. And I love that about it, and it gets a lot of good use from me. I've really appreciated this little quad. Let's talk about a couple of other little palettes that I have in my personal collection that I think would be really good travel palettes. The first is actually another one of these Wet n Wild quads. I actually think I've traveled with this one a little bit more than with my Silent Treatment. However, there's the reason I don't usually travel with this. I am terrified that this is just gonna crack all over my stuff, and that would not be a happy day. But were it in good shape, as it was when I traveled with it quite a bit, We have a blush shade, we have a highlighter shade. I suppose this could maybe be a contour for some people. I'm not really sure. I don't know how well this would blend out. You know, maybe. Or brow shade. I actually have used this in my brows a couple times, and while it's a little bit too cool for my coloring, most people don't have kind of reddish hair, so there's a possibility as well. This one might seem a little bit less obvious because it's all matte. Let's see, there we go, open it. But again, you've got a blush shade. You mix these two together and they make a pretty nice matte highlighter. Do I have a clean finger? No. It's not going to stop me though. That was an awful swatch, but okay. We're redoing that swatch, giving me a second chance. Let's go here. And of course you can just mix the amount of each color that you want that to fit your skin tone. Yeah. I have used this for travel as well, and I think this is great. It might be a little bit more ideal for if you were, say, traveling for business than if you were going somewhere fun and wanted a lot of color, but it's a really handy little palette. It's very helpful. Oh, I'm also gonna swatch that blush. Yeah, it's mixed with another color, but you'll get the point. I do really love that pink. I think that's very pretty. Now, if you were much deeper than me, I think this would make a surprisingly versatile little palette for travel. I mean, clearly you can go very, very colorful with this, but if you're a cool toned fiend like me, just cover up those two blues. And that is the cutest little cool tone quad. Why I say for someone much darker than me is that I think this could be an absolutely beautiful blush if you were quite deep skinned. And this is a really pretty highlighter. It's just a little too dark for me to use as a highlight. I've tried and it wasn't pretty, but let me swatch both of those for you. And then of course, if you want to go out partying at night or something, or you know, you're just someone who likes to wear blue eyeshadow during the day, all the more power to you. You've got the blues. Let's see. Isn't that shade just stunning? I love that. And let's put the purple here. And we can blend that out just a little bit so you can get the idea. You can start to see how that would be a little bit more of a sheared out, almost fuchsia color on the cheeks. Very pretty. And the last item in my travel makeup bag is a perfume sample. I think perfume samples are really the way to go when you travel. I would hate to lose like a $90 bottle of perfume or have it get broken or stolen, anything like that. But a free sample I got from Sephora, not as attached to that. Also, they're just so much easier to fit in your luggage. Full-size perfume bottles, especially ones that are sturdy enough that I would be comfortable traveling with them, tend to be pretty bulky. And I mean, this is the smallest thing in my makeup bag. And let me repack my makeup bag. And you can see, this is still pretty empty, and that is largely by design. I like to be able to pick up a couple items as I'm traveling if I see something that interests me. I also just like to put other toiletries in my makeup bag. I do not like the idea of at all of having my backpack and my carry-on be like half toiletries. That's obnoxious. Alright, I'm going to roll the tutorial now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will consider liking and subscribing. Let me know where you're finally going to travel once we're allowed to again. I don't even care at this point. I just want out. Alright. Thanks again for watching, and hope we'll see you again next time. Bye!